Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second part of our Guyana Cup 2023 review. This is the Bits and Pieces cricket podcast. With me in the house, we've got commentators Carl Bennett, Machu Achaibar, Lenny Achaibar, and cricketer Telston Johnson. All right, so please share, tell a friend, and we'll be back. All right, we're back. Okay, we had a very spirited discussion last week. We were talking about the Guyana Cup 2023, very exciting series of matches. Um, I'll start this week with Machu. We didn't get to hear you talk at all there last week. So, Machu, how are things going?
Things are going great. I'm glad to be back. Unfortunately, wasn't here last week. But all is well now. Things are better.
Okay. Before we get into the review, we're gonna have Machu do a roundup of what's going on in the minor league and the players who will be from New York who will be joining the minor league. Go ahead, Machu.
Yeah, so we had a very successful Guyana Cup a few weeks back, and now the attention nationwide shifts to the minor league cricket and eventually the major league cricket, which will happen first. But recently, the minor league draft last week took place. We had quite a few New York talent being snapped up, particularly those that would have been featured in the Guyana Cup. For example, the likes of Devish Roy Prashad was a first-round pick, actually, going to the Philadelphians. Raj Nanan also will be joining him over in Philly. And you've also got some other names that would have featured in the Guyana Cup as well. Chandrapal Hemraj, the CPL player, the Guyana player, will be heading out once again for the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers. Dominic Rickey will be looking to continue his success with the New Jersey Stallions. Raymond Ramratan, also another crucial part of that Stallions lineup. We would have seen him on the championship-winning Queen's Sharks, as well as Bhaskar Yadram, who will once again be joining him in familiar bit of chemistry there with the New Jersey Stallions, as well as Gajanan Singh and Christopher Van Tull, who will both turn out for the hometown team, the Empire State Titans. Additionally, a lot of other New York talent being involved in this tournament as well. Mario Laban, tall fast bowler, headed to the Empire State Titans. The likes of Jonoy Drysdale to the Philadelphians, a retained pick from him. Abdullah Saeed, Rizwan Mazar, Kwame Patton Jr., some explosive hitters all being snapped up, with Mazar headed to the New England Eagles, Kwame Patton headed to the hometown Titans, and Abdullah Saeed headed to the Somerset Cavaliers.
Okay. Thank you so much for that roundup, Matthew. All right, minor league cricket. And when is it due to start? What date is the minor league due to start?
The minor league is due to start in August, a bit later than usual. First, we'll have the Major League Cricket, which will take place in July 13th to the 30th or 31st, and then the minor league will take place in August.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's get on to the subject at hand, our part two of our review of the Guyana Cup. And today we'll be looking at the finals. Carl, Sharks lost their first match on the 27th, Saturday the 27th, to the Berbice Lions. And, everything came wrong back now. Those two people are about to go into the final. What's going on in your mind? How are you seeing things
Well,
as they head to the field?
first of all, I mean, all due respect to Teller, I know our mentioned Teller was here, but the Sharks lost in embarrassing fashion on the Saturday on the 27th. They lost by 7 wickets, and they were dominated. I mean, Berbice looked like a strong team, the team to beat. In effect, they had they won with like almost 9 full overs to spare, right? Chasing just 117 runs, so they needed 118 to win. So, just based on that, it seemed like for all intents and purposes, the Sharks were pretty much out of the tournament, and Berbice were the team that had all the momentum going, into the rest of the tournament.
Right.
But
the Lions were going to eat the Sharks.
yeah, exactly. But as we know, cricket is such an unusual game; anything can happen. Boy, that apparently woke up the Sharks, because after that they played, tremendous cricket. They brought their A game, and you have to give them all the credit in the world, shaking off that defeat and then coming back with such a tremendous performance in the final, which we obviously will talk about.
Oh, great. All right. So let's go to the toss, and we'll come back to Lenny.
Sharks have won a couple of games and they've lost one. Lions have won all the games so far. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 final of the Guyana Cup 2. And it all comes down to Berbice Lions. They take on Queensland Sharks. The umpires are CDL and Robert Samuels. In fact, Steve Samuels. But the Trinidad and Tobago, CDL from Guyana. And so we've had an exciting couple of days of cricket, and Karen C. Narayan will toss the coin. Here we go. Heads is the call. And it comes up tails. So Sharks have won the toss and they'll bowl first. Sharks have won the toss. Berbice will bat first.
Lenny, was there an advantage to the toss, to winning the toss in this match, Lenny?
Well, the little good night, guys. The little bit of delay there is that Karan Ganesh was making the point that when the coin was tossed, it rolled for a good 3 feet and hit the umpire foot. so Ganesh wanted a retoss.
Okay.
Ganesh wanted a retoss because he lost the toss. And Karan C. Narayan decided that they'll probably bowl first. But I spoke to Ganesh afterwards, and he said he would have batted first anyway. So sometimes toss becomes meaningless and irrelevant. But I think he was quite delighted that he wanted to win the toss and ask Sharks to probably let them bowl. But the toss pretty much ended up to be irrelevant because Ganesh had wanted to bat anyway.
That's what he tell you. That wasn't the case.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say the same
maybe.
thing.
Yeah.
That's what he's gonna
That
say.
wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That
Tyler.
wasn't the case. He would have stuck us into. He would have set us into back.
That's what I think.
Oh.
Right? He definitely, yeah. He wanted, their strength is to chase. They can defend the total. That's what they can do very well.
And look,
You
they
know?
chased, as I mentioned, they chased in the first game. and won emphatically.
Yes.
There's no way Karen would have won that toss and batted, and that's why he wanted to toss again, because obviously the way it turned out, I mean, why not then just take the toss and go? But
Yeah, and also look in the semifinal they scraped home. They scraped home by chasing. So I don't see any management will say, you know what, guys, we barely made it to the final by just scraping home. Let's do it the opposite way now.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
All
It's
right.
Karen at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Tell us the mindset of a player entering a final. The team you've lost to this team in the first match. You going in. I mean, you had some early success bowling actually first ball in the first match. You're going to get in. You're going to get the opening over. Tell us your mindset starting that match.
Going into any tournament, especially a tournament that short, all right, it's not saying it never happened, all right, but it's very difficult for a team to beat the same team twice in such a short tournament,
Yeah.
all right? And we already had that in the back of our head, that there is no way Berbice is coming to the party and outplaying us. They're not going to dance better than us in the finals. No way. All right, so we already had that mindset, given that we already completed a semi-final in which, we had an entire team's performance, getting out of it. So we already, our tails were up. We were ready for anything at that point.
Okay.
We
Cool.
were
That's
already,
Ted Stall is from the Sharks, for those few who may not know. All right, it looked early on like Akshay was going to be in the runs.
Last time Johnson wrote to Akshay Homerati was out first ball. Let's see. Here we go. Game on. Into the inside. Over the middle here. And it could be the first ball here. Akshay Homerati. Into the one side this time, running away towards the long line boundary. Ronaldo Mohammed is the man there. A couple of runs here for Akshay.
Machu, we were thinking at this point that Akshay finally got his rhythm in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to our horrible prediction before the tournament was that it was going to be high scoring, and I had even said I had even said before the final, I said that look at how the game of cricket look at how this tournament is gonna end out being played. You're gonna have a very low scoring tournament, and you're gonna have a high scoring final. So when I saw Akshay Homraj get off to a quick start, I said to myself, I was kind of expecting this. The Berbice Lions, we're gonna end up getting a pretty high scoring final, and Akshay Homraj for a few overs or a few deliveries was kind of proving me right. But then things started to take a turn.
Yeah. Not as exciting as the semi-final, but there were some strange things that actually happened. Carl, you're gonna have to describe this run out for me, the Akshay run out. Usually a run out has a sense of urgency. All right. There was something very odd to the whole mood of this run out. This is actually Hemraj losing this wicket, but check it out.
Faces up to Carmichael, ball flicked away nicely. Good runs here. Preston Johnson just struts back. Cross for two, come back to green. Oh, he's gone, so Berbice have lost the first wicket. And Akshay Homraj
Yeah, tell me
So-
about that, Carl. That's one honest looking run out.
So let me tell you this. First off, this is the first I'm seeing the replay of this since the day of the game, right? But on the day when I was there and watching it live, it actually looked to me like he got home, like he was safe, like he made his ground. But now watching it now and seeing how the fielder ran back for the ball, he was almost loping to get the ball. There was no urgency.
Right, there was no urgency.
Yeah. Then the other thing is there was hesitation on the part of the runners between Akshay and Dominic Ricky, who was, at the other end. And then, seemingly when they decided to go, then all of a sudden it was like, all right, now I'm going to push. Here it actually looked like he might have been out. on the day, as I said, it looked like maybe. And again, we don't have the benefit of decision review. We don't get the old, let's go upstairs. And so, but in the end, I think that was a big dismissal when Akshay got out. He looked like he meant business in the final. He middled a few balls, and if anybody on this panel know Akshay, he only needs to feel a few out of the middle of the blade, and once he gets going, it could be a long afternoon for any team. And so, from a Queen Sharks point of view, it was good to see the back of Akshay as early as they did. He only made 8 runs from 5 balls and only struck 1 4.
Lenny, what's your thought on that little run out there?
Well, look, I think that there was a bit of deception from Johnson. Now Tello trots after that ball. In the meantime, man had already crossed for 2, looking for 3. And I think what was in the batsman's mind is that the way Tello Johnson approached that chase, it was quite deceptive, but he got quickly to the ball and he sent a very good throw.
Good throw.
It's a very good throw. I'll tell you why it's a very good throw. Who was the keeper there?
It was who was it? Wilson. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah, it might have
Willow
been
that was
Randy.
keeping.
Randy was,
Yeah, it might
Yeah,
have
Willow
been
was
Randy.
keeping. Yeah, Willow
Yeah.
was keeping.
Yeah, it's either Willow or Kellon. I know Kellon.
It was Willow. It was Willow. It was Willow.
And I think it was well received by Ronald Wilson, because I'll tell you why. They tell you in local cricket, because a lot of fielders don't have rifle throws, they don't throw very straight, they don't throw very fast. As a wicketkeeper, to help throws is to go in front of the stumps. We all know the traditional thing is to stay behind the stumps, allow the ball to hit the stump sometimes. But because local cricket, not too many people will hit the stump, Willow was beside the stump. He was not behind, he was not in front, he was beside. And it was a very good throw. It was a very good throw that caught the batsman. And I think the run by Telston Johnson, very, trotting behind the ball, but the throw came in pretty straight. And he wasn't very far run out. It was probably a couple of inches.
Yeah.
So tell her, were you being deceptive?
Yeah, it was actually humbling. But the thing is, right, in the conversation I had after the game, he was like, he was the one who initiated the tour, right? Because he thought that, because we play club cricket together on Saturdays, he was like, I know that your shoulder is not good. What happened? So he didn't expect the throw, right? He never expected the throw. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, ain't nothing that a shot gonna help. So I was humbling, and as I was going to the ball, I was looking over my shoulder to see, what would have been their reaction, because there was no way of stopping 2.
Right.
And anything else, it would have been 2 3/4. So said, so done.
Yeah.
It was 2 3/4.
Yeah. There was a strong throw, tell man. It was a strong throw, as Lenny said, right alongside the stumps. And all Randy had to do was collect it and take the stumps apart.
And take
And
the
look,
Yeah.
and guys, look, the other thing about returning through to the wicket is the one that the Australian had really populated back when they were on top of things, is to throw the ball with a very good bounce to the keeper. 1 bounce. Throw it low, throw it hard, throw it fast. Let the keeper get 1 bounce. Because it's hard sometimes to aim with a full throw towards or in the vicinity of the stump. But when you throw one of those rifle throws and it gives that keeper a 1 bounce right around the wicket, that's an easy take.
All right. No, Machu Tello did not get the early batsman or the previous centurion in the way that he'd been getting them. He's been bowling them. So what were you thinking as you saw that run out there, Machu?
Well, I mean, my first immediate reaction was you can't keep Tello out of the game throughout this entire tournament. Whether even when he isn't bowling, he's either hitting a 6 that helped them win the semifinal, and now he's running out actually Humraj. So my first reaction was, oh man, Tello has just been on top of things. It did look close, as Carl said. It did look close. Obviously, from our view, it's impossible to tell really. Now looking back at the replay, it did look out, but as we all said, it was a pretty close run out. Three certainly looked on, especially when you have especially when you have two good runners between the wickets like actually Humraj and Dominic Ricky.
Dominic, yeah.
But really good throw from Telston Johnson, and yeah, my first reaction was I couldn't believe it. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
And look, Taylor, I'm gonna say this, right? And I know you weren't here last week, but I was, and not because you're here this week. We were talking about last week about how good a tournament you had overall. Like, I was making the point that people underestimate like how well you bowl that new ball sometimes, and so people go, they go to the weekend and they expect to, be able to try to cart you all around the field, and in their approach, there's sometimes a recklessness that gives way to you being able to pick up early wickets. And this whole tournament, from the first day through to the very end, like you were picking up those early wickets, particularly in your first spell. You had to be thinking, I have these teams exactly where I want them. Like, what was your approach generally to, bowling that first spell or having the new ball at the top of the innings?
Of lately, that has been my objective. All right. My job is to go and get early wickets. All right. Because batsmen would always counter attack. All right. And once you come in after a bowler, the bowler has a better chance. All right. He has 6 deliveries. You just got one deliver to make a mistake. All right. So it's just basic, remaining consistent, try to keep the ball in the right areas, force the batsman to make the mistake. And again, everybody comes out because what? It's T20. The restrictions are on. We're going to dominate. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play shots. Tello is the kind of bowler, if you allow him to settle in, it's going to be hard to get him away. So coming out, taking your chances, it's always going to put me under pressure when they do get ahead, like in the first game with Dominic.
Right.
Once he settled in, there was no way Corbin his approach to the game. So that is why you got to always stick to your guns, stick to your plan. Try to remain, one side of the wicket and just try to not go in the zone for the batsman. It doesn't always work out, but you got to always have the approach that you want to be consistent,
Right.
Yeah. And look, when you look at the Sharks bowling attack, Johnson, Tello might have considered himself very lucky to even being given the new ball on day one. You know why? Because look, you had Bhaskar Yadram, you had Ronaldo Mohammed, and Kellen Carmichael. All these guys can open the new ball. So the ball was thrown to Johnson on the first day, and boom, he made a early impact.
Sorry, Len, seniority rules,
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Let them know, tell her.
All right.
It's not by accident.
Whichever team I go, the first thing that the skipper does is throw the ball to me. Which one you think we can use today? But that comes with being around in the leagues, playing a lot of cricket. The guys often look up for that little guidance. It might be able to contribute in some way or another. So, this is what these guys look for. And as you can see, in the Sharks, we had a very young team. So basically, it's the guidance, somebody who knows what's going on around the leagues is where that little knowledge comes into play. And that is what makes a lot of team, that is what bring a lot of team downfall, their demise. Because they don't have that person with that additional experience to say, hey, you know what? Let's just keep back Kellan. Kellan gonna come and he gonna bowl the older ball, and he has his variation, take the pace off. He's effective in that aspect. Same as Ronaldo. They're very effective with the older ball. So that is where the little experience comes in. So a lot of captains would misuse their bowlers. Like, for example, Majestic. They were fumbling. You got a team like that, you got a lot of bowlers. You have to end up pulling out the keeper from behind the stump to bowl. That is bad management when you got the captain, Derek, who bowled 2 over for 10. So it all comes back to how you maneuver your team, how you use your bowlers.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
need somebody to guide you and not be flustered, in situations.
All right. So Tello is spitting the words of wisdom there. All right.
Yes, sir.
Now Dominic Ricky again for a minute seemed that he was going to take the bowlers of the Sharks to task, but then he got out.
Into the onside, one bounce, over square leg.
Well done, Ricky.
Scored to 23 for 1 in over number 3. So top edge,
Clear, Ricky, now clear, man.
third man with touch. Guyana Singh runs around.
So Tello did strike Machu.
Yeah, he did, and still a big wicket. Dominic Ricky didn't bowl him, didn't get him for his ball, but still a huge wicket, and a very good catch as well from Gajanan Singh, and that's I guess the experience of Gajanan Singh, a man who currently plays for the U.S. team, a man who has had experience in the West Indies, played at a high level for a long time. The fielding overall from the Queen's Sharks was really good. The catching was exceptional, especially in that final. A lot of teams, a lot of players would have definitely dropped a few of those catches. One of them being those to dismiss Dominic Ricky. So overall, good catch. Telston Johnson did end up inducing a false shot from Dominic Ricky again, as he mentioned. Batsman looking to attack early on, looking to make full use of that power play, especially with pace on the ball. But when you have such a good fielding unit, all that risk ends up it can lead to two things. It can either lead to the reward or it can lead to the demise. And for Dominic Ricky, it led to the demise very quickly.
All right. Now in the bowling, of course, in that final was Dino. All right. Lenny will talk about Dino shortly.
Ronaldo makes no mistake, and that's the end of the run drive. He has to go. It's now 81 for
Dismiss from behind the finish. In the air. And that one to the list of wickets. Dino Chaminada.
Lenny, Dino didn't have the best time at the crease, but he did make up for it in his bowling in that final.
Yeah, I thought. Look, to be fair, what I saw, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't know where Berbice was going with playing so many rash strokes. All the batters, they got out by. I mean, look, Ganesh came in first ball, right? First ball, Ganesh made a big, expansive drive, as if Berbice needed six in the last ball. Right? I think they underestimated Dino Chawinam, who has been, has done fair amount of bowling for his local club. He's a good spinner, and I mean, he was just tossing the ball up a good line and length, and they were just trying to take this guy on, trying to take him off, take him on, and they all paid a price, 5 for 21 or something like that. He really broke the back of Berbice.
Definitely. Your thoughts on Dino's performance, Carl?
Look, Dino had a tremendous game, right? First off, Dino's performance, I think, was set up by the bowlers at the top, right? So Teller bowled his 4 overs, which is basically 24 deliveries. In the 24 balls, Teller bowled 13 of them were dot balls. So right away, the pressure started to build up on guys. And when the ball passes the bat, or when you're facing a ball and you can't get him away, you're gonna try to take advantage of any delivery that you see that you think you get. So when Dino came into the attack, they tried to attack Dino, and he also initially, when he started, he bowled quite a few dots. He had 13 dots in his spell as well, and so that really built up pressure on the batters. Now, what did that translate into? That translated into guys effectively giving away their hand, right? Because Ramcharitara came out. He got out loosely, and I know Taylor picked him up. But Ramney Hall, Karen, Devashwari Prasad, they all came out looking to go big, looking to try to advance the scoring rate. And I think that's where it all fell apart. And Dino was there. He kept the ball on a tidy line, tidy length, and he picked up wickets.
Right. All right. So Queens, no, Berbice Lions, they were out. Was it 136, Lenny?
Yeah.
136, yeah.
Yeah, 136. All right. Now, Tello, 136, were you guys, given how things have been going throughout this tournament, were you guys confident going in that, 136, not a big total, but did you guys go in confident that, this was doable?
Yeah, of course. The total, we know that Berbice had, a formidable lineup, but, Willow and Gajo really set up the innings to begin with, and then Raymond came in and he played his hand. He played, I think his innings was the defining moment for us in that finals, because again, it's a finals. Losing
Right.
wickets could always change the outlook of any game. All right, that's what wickets do. Wickets bring pressure. So, you must commend those guys on going out there and playing their role, occupying the crease, rotating the strike and doing what they had to do. That was a big help.
Right. All right. So we're going. It's the Sharks now chasing 136. Let's go from around when the Sharks touched their 50.
Next to number 3 or 4, Berbice. 50 comes up here for the Queen Sharks. They come back for a couple. They get too easily in the end. So 50 in the court comes up in here, number 8.
Yeah, 50, 51. In the 8th over Raymond Ramratan, the top scorer so far, 26 of 17.
Ramratan, that rest on his shoulders here. It's the steady ship, so to speak, trying to guide this chase.
Matthew, your thoughts on what was for the most part a disciplined chase by the Sharks?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all talked about how important the cohesion as a team was in the semifinal. I think in the final, especially batting wise, it was really important here again. Because you had Dino Chawinam and Randall Wilson both fall in the power play within the first 2 overs, actually. And just for a few overs, things started to look like it was going to get really interesting because the Sharks found themselves maybe 12 for 2 or 13 for 2 or somewhere around there. And, we see it so many times, finals at even the lowest or the highest levels of the game. Low scoring finals can be very tricky. And low scores in general in T20s can be very tricky these days. So for a little bit, for the first few overs, that looked to be the case. But again, Tello talked about the importance of Gajanan Singh. Even though the scorecard only reads 17, he really did well in terms of not giving his wicket away. We mentioned the Berbice Lions that was something they really struggled with in terms of really getting any kind of support for Jonathan Fu. The Queen Sharks did that a lot better. Gajanan Singh ended up getting 15. Steve Rupnarayan as well played a pretty handy knock. Again, only 13 on the scorecard, but when you look at the context of it, did a really good job in terms of rotating strike with Raymond Ramratan, who was the main guy at the time, 56 off 44, not out from him. And then Bhaskar Yadram with 22 off 15 and Ronaldo Ali Mohammed with some big blows at the end. So when you combine all of those cameos and when you have them centered around that major half centurion and Raymond Ramratan, who left not out, really led them through. Again, you look at a brilliant team performance from the Queen Sharks. And right at that point, it was really them rebuilding because Gajanan Singh, I believe, had just fallen. Raymond Ramratan and Rupnarayan were out in the middle, and yeah, that was where things really started to tilt back towards the Queen Sharks.
Your thoughts on the run chase, Sam Carl?
Look,
the approach of the Sharks.
I echo everything Matthew said in the sense that, and I have to give kudos to Ray Ramratan as well for how he shepherded that innings. Because, again, with the early wickets falling, with the middle order, a little questionable for the Queen Sharks. I thought he came in and played a good hand. He was steady. He didn't overhit the ball. He just nudged the ball around. He took what was on offer. And at the same time, he wasn't going slow either. He wasn't slugging, trying to hit the ball out of the ground. But he was going at better than 100%, 100 strike rate. He ended up with a strike rate in the range of like 127, 130. So again, without overdoing it, he was very steady. And the Sharks at that point needed someone to bat around, and he was a good anchor point for that chase, which I think is what eventually got them over the hump. It allowed the other batters to be able to express themselves when they needed to and still knock it around at the same time. It wasn't a big chase by any means. And so in the end, I thought the approach was exactly what the doctor ordered for the Queen Sharks.
Given the way he got out in the semifinals as well, right?
Yeah.
It was a completely different Raymond Ramrotan, in the finals. You must say that.
Yeah.
Right. Your thoughts on the Sharks approach, Lenny?
Yeah, tricky total, 130 something, not a lot of score, but look, Ramratan and Rupnarain, they had all that was really needed to really push the scoring along. Baisley Pond Park is a big field. Big field means big open gaps. When you get out of the power play in many T20 games, all of a sudden mid-off and mid-on get pushed all the way back to long off and long on. Right there, as a batter, you just drive the ball in just to the left or the right of the ball and you get a single. Exactly what they needed. And Rupnarain, I got to tell you, that kid was suited for that chase at that precise moment. He loves to stroke the ball into open spaces. And Ramratan does a little bit of that too. I got to tell you, Ramratan is a two-faced player, if you notice, because when he plays in minor league, when he plays in the Stallions 11, he bats at 6 and 7 because he's a leg spinner. He's the leg spinning all around in that side. And I've seen him a lot of time come to the crease for Stallions, and I have had to play an innings like that. And also he does have the ability to really turn it on if needed. But for that final with him and Rupnarain, and as Matt mentioned, they were batting at 2 for 12. It got interesting at that stage. But the defining part was a good bit of partnership between Rupnarain and of course Raymond Ramratan.
All right, thank you for that, Lenny. Now, Telstar, did you at any point think that you may have to enter and put a flick of the pants for sex?
And save the day.
I actually had one pad on at some point coming on to the end of the game. I think it was Yadram's idea, to start padding up.
Yeah.
But, all in all, I didn't have to go back and, reproduce another inning. But, I still had a lot more left in me. But it wasn't required. Give thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're watching the Bits and Pieces Cricket Podcast. We're reviewing the exciting Guyana Cup series that was held over the Memorial Weekend, and we're talking about the final. Now, they say cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, and, with uncertainties, of course, come a lot of coincidences. Now, gentlemen, you're going to have to go back in your history books and let me know if you've encountered a coincidence like we had in the case of Dino. All right? I'm going to break it down, and then you're going to get a minute or so to think about it. Now, in both of the games with the Berbice Lions, Dino was out for one. It was the same bowler, the same person feeling. He seemed to have played the same shot.
Wow.
Right? It was from the same end batting. All right. So go back in your mind, in your history books as we watch it, and let me know if you've seen anything like this before. Let me play the two dismiss. First thing, Carl, was it the same shot? Did he play?
Look, it wasn't exactly the same shot, but they were both equally reckless, to be honest. And Dino was struggling for form. He was struggling to find the middle. And actually, Anansi, I'm gonna give you kudos to going back and finding that
Yeah,
and making
yeah,
that up
yeah, yeah, yeah.
immediately.
True,
Because
true, true.
I don't
Great
think
for,
I
great,
realized.
great for.
Yeah, I don't think I realized that actually happened. And we
Yeah.
watched both those games right in front of our eyes, but um I don't recall having seen that, to be honest. And as I think back in cricket, you can always think back to times where in international cricket, you know, going back to even like Sunil Gavaskar, Michael Oldham, these guys, where you say like one bowler has the ticket for somebody, like they can pick up that person, or they have a track record of getting the same person out over and over. This might be as close to that as I might have seen, but again, I'm gonna credit some of this dismissal to just the recklessness of Dino in this case, and not necessarily any special bowling by Devishwar. And the thing about this too is for the viewers at home who may not realize that Jonathan Fu was the catcher who took the catches in both scenarios, and so credits to you, man, for spotting that and actually making that connection.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Matthew.
I won't discount the fact it's never happened, because throughout the years we have done a lot of double headers, or we've done a lot of tournaments where they've been multiple games in a day, or multiple games in a span of a couple of days. I cannot remember off the top of my head if anything like that has ever happened. But with all the games that we've done, maybe. And the only thing, again, I have to give all the credit to you for even noticing that, because like Carl said, all three of us did both of those games and we couldn't even pick that up. So if when you're not paying attention to something, you don't even know it happened. So credit to you for really opening our eyes to that. But maybe it's happened, maybe it hasn't. But I can't really remember any time it's happened, at least as similar as that.
Sorry about that. Lenny, any recollections?
Not at all, not at all. But what would have been strange? What would have been strange if somebody got run out twice in the tournament, same scenario, by the same guy who threw the ball? Then probably that would have that would have made your list. That would have made your second, right? Can you imagine?
We
Can
need
you
fellow for
imagine?
that one.
Can you imagine Johnson had taken out Akshay Humraj twice in the tournament by a run out?
Well, in any case, it wasn't run out. The route to run out, but gone twice to Telson.
Yeah, you did get him twice.
You did get him twice.
By the hooks or the crooks.
Yep.
You tell you encountered any such coincidences on the field?
Nah, not at all. Like Machu said, it would happen, but it's not like you be paying that keen attention to it. But I guess with you sitting there and you're reviewing your tapes and whatnot, it's good to see that somebody's paying attention.
Yeah.
No, you force the guys to be a bit more assertive.
Yeah. Nancy, man,
Yeah.
ESPN, we gotta extend ESPN to you. Do some Sports Center or something like that. That's really good work.
But look,
really good work.
The other thing to note, right? I thought Devashwari Prasad really got a good ball to Dino. He got him to stretch. He got him to stretch way outside the off stump. And I think both times he really succeeded in getting Dino cheap. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think his idea was to push it wide, because look, as a left arm seamer, your best ball is the ball going away from the right hander. We know that. That's a stock ball for all left hander. What does he do with a left hander though? What does he do with a left hander? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Devashwari can still move the ball away from the left hander, but in this instance, he went wide. He went wide, and I think Chowinam was stretching for the ball, and they tell you once you're stretching for the ball, you're not getting good reach and good balance. So the shot doesn't really get well timed, and I think that's why he perished.
Yeah.
Right, right. All right.
But on another note, that is something in club cricket that we focus on. Like guys like Dino and them, you try to take
Mm.
away their arm.
Yeah,
You try to take that away from them. So, it must have been applied by the captain of the Lions in the sense
yeah,
that, hey, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. Take away
yeah. Bowling.
Dino's arm, and
Yeah,
he's gonna sky the ball because Dino is the kind of guy that loves the ball within his arm. Closer
yep,
to him
yep,
is
yep.
better.
Yeah,
So you might see it being executed a lot more around the leagues, as you cover more tournaments.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought he was impatient though, Dino, in terms of, I mean, in the final, that
Mm,
was the second ball that he was facing. So that
mm.
shot was not required. And again, he's going in the air, which again, for those who know Dino, he plays in the air a lot because he swings for the fences. A lot of the balls are, he's trying to take advantage of the power play with the field restrictions in place. In the first game, though, he also fell on the fifth ball, which again, it's so early in his innings where if he's not hitting the ball and getting it away straight away, he puts himself under pressure and he will play shots like that. And so I think it's important for bowlers if they're able to just pin him down, even in the first couple of deliveries. He sometimes will get a little careless, a little reckless, and impatient, and will offer that opportunity here and there.
All
Yeah.
right. Go
Also,
ahead.
the fact is, Carl, that probably he wanted to rush things because he knows that after Deveshwari Prasad is all spin. Hemindra Ramdehal, Karan Ganesh, Gaurav Ramesh, Jonathan Fu. So hey, he might have been thinking, hey, let me make hay while while the sunshine here on this guy,
Sunshine, yeah.
because we all know Dino likes a little bit pace on the ball. Which aggressive opening batsman does not like some pace? Dino does.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Very true.
All right. So with Dino, but with Dino's good bowling, and the Sharks, batsmen staying focused, they basically were, excuse me, they were able to reach the target. Let's look at the close of the innings.
Champions for 2023 can start to celebrate. So the Queen Sharks left the player on their feet. Two more runs are needed. So the shot comes in to right from the line. Ends it in style. Takes it up and over. Gone for a maximum. Ronaldo Ali Mohammed closes it out here for the Queens and Sharks. They win by 5 wickets. With 13 deliveries to spare. What a performance by the Queens and Sharks. Yes, a very tough one here for the Queens Sharks. They win the second edition of the Guyana Cup. We've seen some strong performances. And really Robert Tadman comes away with 50 plus not out. And so, Queen Sharks takes the 2023 Guyana Cup title. And so happy here, Daisy Butler.
So Lenny, the lessons from this whole tournament. What how would you summarize it, and what was good, and what can we look forward to in the next one?
Well, I think it's only fitting that Ronaldo ends it off because coming into the last over, I think they needed about maybe 12 or so, but he wanted to hit a couple of sixes to end it. He made many attempts to really finish this thing in fine style, and it's fitting because he was one of the players that really got them into playoff mode or probably into the final. I think this was a real good tournament put together. Like I mentioned last week, there's so many things happening in the other states. I traveled to some of these tournaments, and I've got to travel so far. Nothing happening in New York, and so the Guyana Cup is really one that we can call we own. You know, it's happening right in our backyard. Chance to see our own players in action, and I think on that note, I think this is very good for New York cricket, and I'm very happy that many guys got the opportunity to play. They had fun. They enjoyed it. We saw some of the best players really risen to the top. We saw some failures from some whom we thought probably would have done better, but that's how the game goes. And I think it was a well put together tournament by local standard. The crowd was in several hundreds. I'm not good at estimating crowd, but Carl and Matto tell me that it was several hundreds there at the park at Beasley Pond on the final.
Okay. Yeah, your roundup of the final, Carl.
Look, I'll give my roundup of the final, but also just you have to acknowledge some special performances in the tournament. All told, I think we saw some good performances. The final, obviously, Dino Chowenam's 5-4. It was a big, a big performance that helped to get the Queen Sharks over the line. We saw a special innings from Derek Narayan in the in the quarters. That really was one of the, or in the preliminary round, let's say, that was really one of the special innings that you will see in any T20 game. And we have Telson here, and we'll talk about how Telson performed throughout the whole tournament. Without even knowing that Telson was going to be here today, I made that comment last week that probably he could have been easily an MVP for the tournament as well, just in terms of the consistency of the performance over the many games that the Queen Sharks were involved in. So all told, I think it was a great tournament. I think the players got an opportunity to and a platform to showcase their talents and their skills. The cricket was, at a high level for the most part. I mean, some of the games are low scoring, but that added to the competitiveness of the tournament. It added to the intrigue and just the way that the teams sort of played every game down to almost to the last delivery. So all told, it made for an exciting outcome. And while the final itself continued to be low scoring, it still made for a tremendous spectacle. The park was filled with people. People were festive. They came out, they celebrated. It was just a very fun and festive atmosphere. And kudos to the organizers for pulling it together and making a successful event.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Matthew, you're roundup on the finals and the tournament.
Well, first, the final. Ronaldo Mohammed is my type of player. The way he went out there with that mindset towards the end of the game, knowing that there wasn't really anything to lose, really. There was the amount of runs needed wasn't really much of a question. Finish it off in style, especially in a final. I mean, they had wickets in hand, nothing to lose. And he really tried. And in fairness, I think Devishwari Prasad gave him a lot of help with that final delivery, bowling him a juicy bouncer that was right in the arc for Ronaldo Mohammed to just hook it away. Overall, the Queen Sharks, one thing I really have to applaud the Queen Sharks for is that so many times, whether it's in New York, the US, or even at the highest franchise level, you look at a team before the tournament just by looking at the team that they have, and they may seem stacked. They may seem they're the most talented team on paper. And according to many, this Queen Sharks team was. Even the night of the draft, the live draft that we had, we all made the point that the Queen Sharks is probably on paper the team to beat just by looking at some of the names that they have in their roster. And so many times at any level of the game, we see those teams come up short. They would make it to the quarters or the semis or even the final, and they would somehow find a way to be beaten. There's always an upset. The Queen Sharks was one of the rare times, at least to me, the real favorite team actually went in there and actually got the job done, because so many times we see it not happen. Look, we saw it just last year in the 2022 edition with the Majestics, who a lot of people thought were going to be the team to beat. They ended up losing their first game and crashing out. The Queen Sharks, and I actually think that loss at the start helped the Queen Sharks in a way, because when you have a team with that much talent, with the likes of Bhaskar Yadram, Raymond Ramratan, Ronaldo Mohammed, Gajanan Singh, all players of minor league level or at a high level, whether it's for the US or at a previous level back in Guyana, it's kind of hard to condense all of those personalities and all of those skills into an 11-man team, especially to do so in 40 overs of cricket. And that initial loss against the Berbice Lions, I think really, in a way, opened up the Queen Sharks' eyes, because after that game, they must have had the discussion, and it must have made them come to the realization that individual performances are not going to win you a game all the time. And you need to have chemistry. You need to work as a team. You need to really put all of those skills out onto the field for all 11 men. All 11 men out on that field have to contribute in some way. And if one person doesn't, then you need one or two other people to do the job for them and to really take things to another level. And as you saw, as the games went on, the Queen Sharks progressively got better and better as playing as a team, as we saw in the semifinal and as we saw in the final. So credit to Tello and the rest of the Sharks team for really condensing all of those skills, all of that mentality, all of that knowledge that all of those players have, and really finding a way to make it work.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you, Macho.
Tello, you're rounded up as a player of the tournament and the final.
Yeah, I can reiterate what the guys, everybody said on the panel. The tournament was well put together, and it's good to see that people still has cricket at hand, as their main focus, their interest. And the thing is, it's not just the game, is that you put together, you bring out players, families, people that come out, people who jive for this, they live for this. People just want to come out and get the opportunity, to just display their performances. And it's good to see that the organizers, thought about us, to put together something like this. As a player in the tournament, I must say, the Sharks, we did very good to get to the finals and to come out victorious. Because I don't know if you guys know, given that we played a couple of games, but the Shark was one of the only teams that had made as many changes in their lineup than any of the other teams. We actually shovel players around, try to get that right chemistry, to go and win this tournament. And we did so with no problems, because guys were willing to play their role and participate in whatever way possible. Because, again, it's a team sport. Most of the other teams, well, not most of the other teams, I can only speak for the few that we played. They also had big names. MMC was one of the teams that they had a pretty young squad that I was expecting to go all the way.
Yeah.
And it took me by surprise that we didn't see them.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Essequibo.
Yeah.
Jaguar. Yeah.
They had a very good team. Well, it's MMC anyways.
And look, and guys, what I would like to see from here, right? What I would like to see from here, I love that the tournament with these teams and stuff like that. Well, there's some other outlet that these teams can. What's next for Sharks, right? I mean, I know Timona Bisham Ramnath. I think he's watching the feed right now. I know he was quite a integral part of the Queen Shark. But my question is, like many of these tournaments in New York and stuff like that, I would love to see Queen Shark or a franchise team from New York make it out of not only the tournament in New York, but to probably go up like to the US Open, to the Atlanta Open. Don't just stop there. It might be a very good platform for them.
Yeah, well, he also emphasized, at the end of the tournament that there's a tournament coming up, I think it's for the July weekend or sometime in July, that, he's actually planning to put the Sharks in the tournament. So he's really interested in keeping the core together, so that we can go out there and play more tournaments and at least come a lot better than we did this year for
Yeah,
2024.
yeah.
Because
I
that's
will.
the only way. Sorry, Lenny. That's the only way you can actually keep a team together. Because obviously, if you don't, then players are gonna go to the highest bidder when that next round comes about.
Yeah,
Because teams aren't gonna take it lightly.
yeah,
Guys are gonna make you offers. That's what the tournament is about now.
Right, right.
People wants the bragging rights.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you, though, Lenny, that it would be good to see some kind of continuance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, look, the Queen's Shark can look over to another team that played in the Guyana Cup and look for a talent here. Like for example, if you need another talented batsman, Dominic Ricky could be your man there, or somebody can draft him in, and Queen Shark can be even a bigger team getting out of the state.
Very true.
right. Okay.
And
All right.
and
This.
and Nancy,
Go
and
ahead.
Nancy, and Nancy, just before you end, also for
Hmm.
the panelists here and for people watching, there's also the school final happening this Saturday. Jamaica
Yeah.
High, Jamaica High School will play Richmond Hill High School, and it's Baisley Pond Park. Carl, I think it's 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's
So
yeah, that's the targeted time right now.
yeah, so
But
Jamaica
it should be
High
a good
School,
final.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Richmond
that's
Hill.
bad.
Yeah, public
We're
schools
actually,
athletic league. So
yeah, that's good.
come out and support
We're
the
actually up
youngsters.
against ACS this coming weekend, New York 11 at Lido.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Great.
lots of cricket playing. I mean,
This weekend, lots
audience.
of cricket.
Yeah.
All
So come on
right.
out,
Good.
Baisley
Good.
Park,
Good.
the
Come
cage.
out and support
Support local
New
Mm.
cricket.
New New
Support local
York
cricket.
New York cricket.
Buy your
What I
local
can
bread.
say, from the sidelines is that um, the spectators who were there thoroughly enjoyed the Guyana Cup.
Yeah. The
I
atmosphere was
mean,
beautiful, man.
based on their comments, they were really into the game. There were a few people who knew nothing about the players, the names or anything. But they
And I
were
got to
hey, the man's a
and look,
good batsman. I watched him hit two stroke.
and I got to
It was that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Baisley Pond Park, that's a prime viewing
That's
venue,
the
man. Just in the
ideal, the
middle central,
ideal venue.
Yeah, it
That's the
is.
ideal
ideal. Look,
venue.
look, you if you live in the Richmond Hill area, you could just run away, stay in your car, watch a few overs, and just move on. You don't even need to
Right,
come in the ground. You can just park up and watch cricket, man.
right,
Such
But
an ideal
exactly.
spot.
I will tell you too, Len. You'll be surprised how many people are just walking by, see cricket playing, they hear the commentary, and they come in. They
And
want
just
to find
stop.
out who is
Yeah,
playing, who is it, and then suddenly they're getting
engrossed.
caught up in the game. They're enthralled,
Right,
and suddenly they now are a spectator. They stay for the whole game.
I look,
right.
Not taking, sorry. Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead, Johnson.
yeah, not taking away anything though, right? The admin, the league, if they put in some work at that same venue at Drew Park, all right, that's a very nice venue as well. In
Yeah,
Mm,
terms of you have the space, like it's a big venue.
right.
Mm,
Drew Park is a very big venue. It's just the wicket just need a little work, which they did some work, but it could be a prime time venue, especially for tournaments like what just recently concluded.
Yeah,
There's a
we
lot
we
of big
heard
venues.
we
Yep.
heard that wicket needs a lot of work actually from just some players who in this tournament that actually
Yeah.
had games on that ground. But to your point, just in terms of the location where it is and the space that's there, I totally agree with you. It's conducive to just picking up the random spectator that might just be walking by that
right.
see some cricket and they get enthralled and they get pulled in. So kudos to the organizers. They should look to kind of leverage that and use some of these venues that are in the middle of active places where spectators can easily find it a place to kind of just stop and enjoy some cricket.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out. Tello, Lenny, Matthew, Carl. All right. And we don't know when again we'll be seeing you with regard to the cricket podcast, but there is a lot of cricket being played around. And, whenever we have something, we'll be back here for another fun conversation. Thank you guys again. Besham, Avinash, in the comment section. Thank you guys. And this is all for now. This has been the Guyana Cup review, the second part. All right.
Thanks for having me, man.
Take care.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you,
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
take
Take
care.
care.
Imagine being a part of a great adventure, one filled with sweet and glorious uncertainties. Imagine being a part of an adventure beloved by 2.5 billion people and counting. Imagine that you are there with the legends, with the local stars, with the ardent fans, with the historians, with the greats of tomorrow. Oh yes, you can become part of the great adventure by joining the